Hello and welcome to the Christmas special of Something Wicked. I'm joined here today by my co-host, as always, Rob. We're doing something a little different today. We're going to do our top 3 Christmas films, me and Rob, so we'll start off with me. But first, I'd like to give a big thank you to Film Hub Wales for putting us in their little magazine thing. It was really nice of you. Now we've got fans all over Wales, the magical land of Wales. So yeah, I'd just like to say a big thank you. We'll start off with mine, Rob, which is a little unknown film that it's sort of become a tradition for me to watch over the years. I think it came out in 2015. Did you manage to get around to watching it?
If it's the film I think it is, then yes.
A Christmas Horror Story?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, so you didn't watch it?
No, there is another one you're going to mention, I think.
Okay.
And that's the film I've watched, but I didn't get around to watching a Christmas Horror Story.
That's fine.
But you talking about it will get me excited and buzzing for it.
It's a fun film. It's an anthology film, obviously anthology, where there's a story in the middle and other things happen. It wraps around to be one big story.
Yeah.
And yeah, William Shatner's in it, which is always fun. Big Bill Shatner. And yeah, it's about a radio host who is William Shatner. And then there's I think there's 4 or 5 different stories. There's a story about zombie elves in the North Pole, and Santa's got to attack, fight the zombie elves. It's a lot better than it sounds. I know it sounds corny. Then there's a story about changelings, you know, the Irish folklore, where they swap a kid out and they go. And then there's a ghost story, because what's Christmas without a ghost story? And then there's a Krampus story, which is always fun. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Like the name really made me think, oh, this is just going to be a load of nothingness, but it's really enjoyable.
It's funny because you mentioned it recently.
Yeah.
Chad mentioned this to me recently during a conversation, and I never heard of it ever. I never heard of this film, and I love the story. I love the title already. You know, straight away you think.
I think they were sort of trying to come off the American Horror Story vibe, weren't they?
And straight away I just thought to myself, okay, I never heard of it. I'll try and look for it. And then suddenly, because obviously it's the time of year, people were obviously going to be, you know, they were going to be watching this film during this time of year, and I started seeing it pop up everywhere. A friend of mine had it up on posted it on Instagram and said, I'm watching a Christmas Horror Story, have you seen it? And suddenly I'm thinking, I've never heard of this film, and then suddenly it's there right in front of me. And I'm like, right, oh no. And then I asked, I can't remember someone, and they said, it's on Shudder. Sadly, I do not have Shudder.
I don't think it is anymore. I think it was last Christmas.
That's good, because I nearly actually got it then. I mean, that'd been quite embarrassing.
Money saved.
Yeah, but no, I nearly did try to see it. I mean, this week, because I've tried to fit in a lot of films this week, trying to remind myself of the films that I've chosen for tonight, and 1 or 2 that I think you're going to choose, because I don't think, believe it or not, I've not seen many horror films that are based around Christmas, or movies with an adult theme. So, you know, I'm not going to say the names in case I mention the actual films, but there's a lot of movies I've not seen. I've only mostly watched Christmas kids films. Okay. So this was a bit of a challenge. So to fit in everything, sadly not, but watched.
There's always next Christmas.
There is always next Christmas. But then again, it might pop up. I mean, I keep on looking out on Amazon Prime, because they're chucking on so many Christmas films at the moment.
Yes, yeah.
But they're just usually putting on the family movies, but they're not putting on the sort of, you know, more action, you know, comedy. Or they're putting comedy, but not, you know,
they're normally Hallmark ones, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, exactly.
But don't get me wrong, I love a Hallmark film.
I put on I put on a TV channel the other day. I think it was Channel 5, just came up straight away. And there was a Hallmark Christmas film on Channel 5. And it starred Andy Garcia.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, that's Andy Garcia. Like, you know, I thought this is, and I know that in a lot of, a lot of the Hallmark movies and just general Christmas films do bring in a lot of big actors. Yeah. Because they know they're big sellers. You know, during Christmas they're going to make money, or they're going to get viewers, because obviously Hallmark films are not actually released in cinemas. Yeah. I don't think they are anyway. Maybe in America, but here in this country they're just thrown onto TV, made for TV. And then you just have to, you know, try and get through the collection, because I think there's literally might be 100 of them. Well,
it's funny to say. It's like when you watch a Christmas horror film, Christmas Horror Story, and you see William Shatner, you're like, it's Captain Kirk. What's Captain Kirk doing on this? Again, it's like, because like I said, a lot of Christmas films, even if they're low budget, seem like your number one choice, the one that I watched. Obviously, we'll get to that later. Yeah. But the amount of talent in that film, when I was watching it, I was like, wow! I couldn't believe some of the people that were in it.
Like I say, I mean, like, in the film I think you're going to mention later, there's going to be another sort of similar thing about an actor.
Yeah.
From a, we'll get to that later, but like I say, it's amazing like what kind of like, you know, festive holiday movies can bring out a big name actor and surprise you sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for example, I mean, this is not spoiling it because I know Chad's top 3, he knows mine. So for example, Elf, you know, that's got a lot of big names in it. I'm not going to say the names in it, but like obviously Will Ferrell is the lead star. I've still not seen it.
I've never watched Elf.
I've never watched it.
You know what, weirdly, this year I found out a lot of people haven't watched that film. Like I've got a couple of friends that like just never bothered. Grinch as well, like, you know, the Ron Howard one.
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Like a lot of people have like glossed over watching that, and which I think is a classic.
I've seen The Grinch, but I've not seen what film are we talking about?
A Christmas Horror Story.
Christmas Horror Story. No, the one before that, Elf. I've not seen it, and I think a lot of people are not big fans of Will Ferrell.
No.
So Will, if you're watching, sorry.
Well, that was him fresh off SNL though, wasn't it? So a lot of people didn't know who he was.
I'm a big Will Ferrell fan, and I've not seen that movie. And it sounds weird to say that, you're a big fan of him, but I just thought to myself, I was getting to that adult age, and I thought, I'm not interested in Christmas kids films anymore because I'm an adult now. And
well, his comedy's matured as well since then. Like Step Brothers, for instance, possibly one of the greatest comedies ever.
Yeah, and like, is that a Christmas film?
No, I'm just saying, like, his comedy's evolved from Elf, say, to,
But they always do, like, there's a lot of movies where, like, will come out during this season, like, and there'll be comedies, like, for kids and stuff like that, but I probably won't watch them now because I've just I just stick to the films I know.
I get you.
Like, the classics, the ones I grew up on. But no, I'll definitely try and catch A Christmas Horror Story.
Should, it's a classic. I was going to say it's a classic. It's only 5 years old. It's good.
I think it's sort of. I think it's meant to come my way now because you mentioned it, and about 2 or 3 people have mentioned it since, and I think I've seen something else about it somewhere. I just keep on seeing it now everywhere.
Well, I watched it when it was released, and like nobody was speaking about it. But like I've noticed over the years, more people are like, oh, this film. The title might be a bit crap, but the film is actually pretty decent and good. The special effects and everything are pretty decent as well.
I do want to see it.
Some Santa killing zombie elves, like where can you go wrong?
It's got, well, like I say, it's got a mix of. It's got, like I say, it's got that Halloween horror vibe, and it's got the Christmas vibe. So it's like 2 seasons coming together.
Exactly.
No, it does sound good.
Get on to your number 3 now, though.
My number 3. Do you know what? I mean, I didn't want to try and put them in, like rate them, but I did in the end because I love all these 3 films.
Yeah.
And the third film I'm going for is it's a traditional film. It's a Christmas movie, obviously, but it's a comedy film. And people might think, oh, this is a bit of a kids' film. I don't think it is. So my third choice is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, those movies are family films. But in my opinion, Christmas Vacation is more like, it's got nice, I was going to say Nice Guy Eddie, that's Reservoir Dogs.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie. It's got Cousin Eddie, played by Randy Quaid, and everything he comes up with in that film is not really, like, this famous scene, the shit is full.
Shit is full.
Yeah, that scene is not for kids. So in my opinion, that's more of it's like an adult family film.
Right.
And, but I'm a massive fan of that movie because I think, every time I watch Christmas Vacation, you can relate to everything the Griswolds do, everything. So you've got Chevy Chase as Clark.
Yeah.
Every dad, as you know, Chad and I are both dads, and we've all got it in us. We've all got that Chevy Chase, well, not Chevy Chase exactly, because apparently he's not the best person to work with, but I love him. But, him as Clark Griswold, we all want to do these things with our family and make it special, and you can relate to that during this season especially. And I just loved his character, and whether it be European vacation, going on a holiday, or going to Wally World in the first film, and that's when you're going to a theme park basically, and wanting to spend time with your family, you can relate to these characters. You can relate to his wife Ellen, daughter Audrey, and son Russ. These are great characters that were written originally by John Hughes. And National Lampoon's Vacation is funny because originally it was meant to be directed by Chris Columbus. Okay. And Chris Columbus went on to direct Home Alone. But the thing is with Chris Columbus was hired, and it was all signed and sealed. And he could not work with Chevy Chase, apparently.
Well, like you said, apparently he's very hard to work with, isn't he?
Yeah, he could not work with him. And so I think they decided, okay, we'll get someone else in and we'll get you on to the next one. And the next one happened to be Home Alone.
Classic.
So looking back now for Christopher Columbus, career choice-wise, that was probably the best thing he ever did, was to sort of, in a way, Chevy Chase kind of gave him a bit of a hand,
leg up.
Because, you know, from Home Alone, he did Home Alone 2, then he went on to do Mrs. Doubtfire, and then he went to do the first 2 Harry Potter films.
Oh, cool.
So I'm glad that happened, because also it might have changed Christmas Vacation a little bit, but I just love everything about it, and you've got more characters involved as well, because all the family come over. You've got Clark's family, you've got Ellen's family, and they all just mix in really well. And John Hughes at the time, when he was writing, his writing at the time, you know, he did all the Brat Pack stuff, but he did great family movies like The Great Outdoors, and Christmas Vacation is just, you know, another great, you know, film added to his CV. You know, he's no longer with us now, sadly, but, you know, he's left this body of work that so many people, especially from my era, the 80s, and I'm guessing, you know, people who grew up in the 70s as well, they can relate to these characters. And I still think now you can look back at them in this era and, you know, communicate with them better, because even more so because they're so likable. And that's what I love about Christmas Vacation. You have seen it?
Well, this isn't a dig at you because you didn't watch Christmas Horror, but I watched all the films you told me to watch.
Yes.
On your list.
Yes.
Obviously, I own my own business. I've got a lot more free time than you, Rob. And I went, and I was really excited when I seen that was your number 3, because that was a tradition for me, my mum and my brother. My dad worked on the trucks back then, so he wasn't really home that much. And we'd watch it, and I haven't watched it in 15 years maybe, maybe a bit longer, and I sat down and I was watching it and I forgot how funny it was. And some of the things that like Clark was doing, like you said, like it was me as a dad, like he was doing things, I was like when his auntie brings the cart and she gives me it, and he's like the box is peering, and he's like shakes it and he's like, oh, your auntie's delivered the cat to his kind of thing. Like that, I was in tears. The bit where he's watching like old family like videos, like I do that now myself, going through family pictures at Christmas time, and then when his wife pulls down, he falls in. It's just all those kind of things. Yeah, like I'm so happy to watch it again. Like it brought back so many like good memories for me as well.
That's exactly, because that's what a film like that is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring, like, you know, it's supposed to bring back memories, and that's what it does for him for Clark in that movie. He's constantly thinking back to his Christmas holidays, and the time he spent with his family.
Because that's why he wants it so magical, because he wants that back.
Exactly, you know, I mean, you know, if you're lucky enough to have a fantastic Christmas as a child, and you just want to recreate those times, because as you know, as you get older, Christmas is not the same.
No.
It's much better when you're a child, because obviously it is meant for children.
Socks and sprouts after 18.
Orange in the
socket
thing. Is that what And but no, I just loved everything about this movie. I think it basically, you know, sums up Christmas in one
definitely.
full film.
A family Christmas. Sums up, like, because I remember for being a kid as well, like we used to have like a family Christmas at my grandparents or something. How much of a pain in the you'd be arguing with your cousins, your auntie would spill the pop everywhere, and then in the end you'd find your mum and dad outside smoking about 4 fags in each fingers because they're just so stressed.
No, I appreciate you watching it. Like I said, I apologise again for not watching A Christmas Horror Story.
You're a lot busier than me.
But like I say, this has made me want to see it more than before I even knew about it. So like I say, I'm excited now. But I'm interested to hear. I think I know you go on number 2.
For me, it's Santa's Sleigh.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Now you've got to remember, right? Rob, when this came out in 2005, I was 10.
Okay.
So I was still
10.
Yeah, in 2005 I was 10. I know.
That didn't seem so long ago.
Rough paper round.
Honestly, 2005 to me seems like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
And obviously I was big into wrestling, and so when I seen that Bill Goldberg was going to play a murderous Santa Claus, I was all about it. So since then, it's sort of just been a tradition. Every year I'll sit down, I'll be like, right, like I was watching it. I watched it since last year, and Alex normally works around this time. And she was off, she had some annual leave. Alex is my wife, by the way. And she was sitting down watching it, and she was like, what? And she was like, why Santa's spearing people? I was like, that's WWE superstar Bill Goldberg, that's why. And I think the comedy's good in it, like when the priest's inside the strip club, and the women are walking past topless, and he's like, ho, ho, ho. And just the way, like the beginning, where like the people at that table, James Caan's there. And you're just like, why is James Caan in this movie?
Well, this is what I was going back to with Elf.
Yeah, he's obviously Buddy's dad, isn't he, in it?
So, because again, goes to show that I'm not up to date with my Santa, Christmas movies. But I had never heard of Santa's Sleigh ever. And when Chad mentioned it about 2 weeks ago, I straight away, I don't think you mentioned at the time it was Goldberg in it.
No, I left everything to you.
Yeah, you left
I didn't
everything
want to
to
tell
me.
you that he was in it or anything.
And it was sold. You literally sold it on the basis it was Goldberg. Because I'm again wrestling fan. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the Attitude. I wasn't into it during the Attitude era. I was more the Golden Age. Hulk Hogan.
I was growing up during
Ultimate
the Attitude,
Warrior.
so yeah.
But I knew a lot. My friend Frenchie, he watched WCW a lot, and he knew the story.
Yeah, obviously he was one of the biggest stars in WCW, wasn't he, Goldberg?
And then, so he's always told me, he's always kept me up to date with the wrestling stories, basically. And so straight away, I thought Goldberg's in a film. I think I knew he was in a couple of movies. I think he's in Universal Soldier. Too.
Yeah.
So I knew he was in that, but I never heard of Santa's Sleigh.
Yeah, it's a very unknown one, because it's not a good film by any means. It's very schlocky, but it's just like little bits. Like obviously he's meant to be Satan's son, isn't he? Those two children, and he was Santa. I don't know why you call his son Santa, but I love that. Like instead of having reindeer, he's got one big bison, like a buffalo. I think that's hilarious. Just silly things like that.
Like let's say, because when I started it straight away, seeing James Caan in it threw me.
It did me, even take because obviously I've been into film a long time as well, yourself. Even at 10 years old, I was like, that's Sonny from Godfather.
Because straight away I thought to myself, at first I thought James Caan. I honestly believed it wasn't James Caan. I just thought looks like James Caan. And then he started talking. I thought that's James Caan. And I just could not get my head around it because I sat there and thought I was sort of judging the film before I watched it.
Yeah.
I said to myself, I thought, why is James Caan in this film? James, like you said, he is Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. He is.
But in the Elf Stab.
Yeah, and then he's in Misery. He's in.
Of course,
He's in Thief, Michael Mann's Thief. He's in some classic, crime movies over the years, and he's even done a couple of stints with. He was in The Razor with Schwarzenegger, and but the problem, I just straight away just looked at it and thought. James Caan. I just could not get out of my head for about 20 minutes. I kept on thinking to myself, does he know the director? Did he lose a bet? And I felt quite shameful because I thought, I'm judging this film because a guy like him is in a film that
like a man of his tenure. Like you'd think that though, like he's saying the films that he's in, you wouldn't expect to see him, would you?
And there was I can't remember her name now. Someone, please comment below what the
that table's got quite a few famous people.
Yeah, there was.
Because you've got the guy who was in Will Ferrell, Night at the Roxbury, haven't you?
Yes,
you can never remember his
right,
name. Yeah, and obviously like, you see him as well. Yeah. And like you see him, you're like, oh no, because I googled the other women, like the two daughters, the wife, and then
I knew one of them.
Okay.
And that was I can't remember. Was it Rebecca or was it Maggie? I can't remember. She was in Scream 2.
Okay, yes.
Very briefly, she was a sorority girl in Scream 2. She was more in the scenes with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she has been in other films, but I just cannot remember them because the memory these days is quite hazy when it comes to the movies. I remember more what I was watched from age 6 to age 25, and since I hit 38, it's like, but I remember about seeing her, I thought, okay, that's quite a big name at the time. And like say, James Caan, I couldn't remember the guy from Night at the Roxbury, but I knew who he was.
You know his face, don't you?
I knew him, because he's quite recognisable.
Yeah.
And straight away, I was just like, again, I was thrown into it, and then as the film progressed, and straight away, like in that scene with the family around the dinner table,
because it just goes off straight because you think, oh, it's just a family arguing, and then there's a rattle down the chimney, and then Bill Goldberg does a roll out the chimney.
The moment he kills everyone, basically, if they said cut and they were making a movie about a Santa movie about this killer Santa, that wouldn't surprise me because it was so bizarre and so weird. But like somebody might call it a guilty pleasure, but you know what? It's not a guilty pleasure, that kind of film. I thought Santa Sleigh was literally, it knew what it was.
Yeah.
It's perfect for what it is because it doesn't try to be anything other than
apart from what it is.
A silly Christmas film.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was actually a breath of fresh air to watch.
I knew you'd like it.
I never, don't get me wrong, I don't tend to like horror films. I'm not a massive fan of horror comedy.
Okay.
I don't mind it in some aspects, but like this, I thought it knows exactly what it's doing, and I thought I enjoyed every minute.
I personally like what my favourite bit in that film is, and obviously Bill Goldberg in wrestling is known for his spears, wasn't he? Because from what I've read, he was a linebacker in the NFL. When he spears the Jewish deli shop owner through the table, he jumps through the glass through the meat.
Is that Mr. Green?
Yes, yeah.
Because that again was another actor who took me by surprise. That was Sol Rubeck. And, have you seen True Romance?
I think I watched it when I was younger, but I've not watched it in years.
Well, he played this really memorable character in True Romance called Leo Donowitz, I think it was. I think, but he plays this like movie producer that Christian Slater is basically trying to sell this massive like suitcase full of cocaine, and Saul Rubick, I think that's how you say his name, but he is the guy he's trying to sell it to, this movie producer. And he's always been a memorable actor to me because he was in, do you remember Getting Even with Dad?
Nope.
A Macaulay Culkin film in 1993, I think it was. It was Ted Danson, Saul Rubick, and another actor I'm afraid I can't remember, and basically Macaulay Culkin during his Home Alone, Richie Rich phase, height of his fame. And he's always been a very memorable actor, and I loved it. And when I saw him again in Santa Slay, I thought, they're just throwing all these amazing actors into this film that I'm never. This goes to show sometimes don't always read before go sometimes into a movie blind.
Yeah, that's why I didn't tell you anything.
Yeah, because you only get surprises. Yeah. That's what I got.
Good. I'm so glad you liked it.
I loved it.
Because a part of me was like, because obviously I know it's like I said, it's a bit of a what's going on kind of movie. It's literally a WWE wrestler riding a buffalo, killing James Caan.
It's perfect. It was generally perfect. It was, like I say, it was. I'm glad I watched it because I honestly don't think I would have got. It's a good job I have you. If I didn't have Chad in my life, I wouldn't watch many films from the horror community. Chad, to be fair, has showed me a lot of. Because horror is not my number one genre. It never has been. I've only come into it about, I'd say, the last 5-6 years because I've always watched the big ones, but I've never watched like sort of the B movies. You know? I never watched Reanimator. I never watched Candyman. And then the last 6 years or so, I've watched these movies. And then since I've met Chad, he's thrown a few other ones my way, and I've watched them, enjoyed them. And Santa Slay was just the same.
Well, it's like you, like I don't really watch anything that isn't really horror, much to my wife's dismay. And watching the 3 films that you picked, it was a nice break. Like watching them, I was like, especially again, number 1 that you picked, I went in again, like maybe like you were with Santa Slay. I thought this is going to be balls. Like I read the synopsis and I was like, this just sounds like every other early 2000s action movie.
There's so many. We'll get to the twists on that one, but
so many.
But there's so many. It's like I say, you can never fit it into the synopsis straight away because it's just there's too much going on. But no, Santa Slay. If you get a chance, watch it.
Watch it. What's your number 2?
Well, excuse me. I was thinking about. So this brings up a question now in Christmas.
I know where you're going with this.
So I love, and this to me is a Christmas film, Die Hard, because and there's always been an argument saying it's not a Christmas film. And it's always sort of, to me, a pointless argument. I've never seen the point of it. I sort of always thought to myself, if a film is like, there's so many films over the last couple of years. There's a chap I know called, I'm going to say his name, Stephen Wilson. He might watch this, I don't know. He's a big collector of movies. And I've met him on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And he just collects movies. And he's always talked about, he's always got a stack of films every Christmas that he picks out. And it's always the same films with the odd one thrown in. And when you look at the stack, you think to yourself, that's a Christmas film? And you think to yourself, and then you wonder, it makes you question, what is a Christmas film? So a couple of films, sorry, Stephen. So one of them is Cobra.
The one with Sylvester Stallone. Great film. I've not seen that in
amazing
years.
Film. Now, I can't remember, I've seen it, but I cannot remember the Christmas connection. I'm not too sure. It's probably, it must be set during Christmas.
Okay. Because it's about a cult, isn't it? He's trying to stop a cult from sacrificing someone, I think.
Cobra to me is like a slasher film.
Yeah.
And there's First Blood as well. Again, also set during Christmas. And I think there's a Christmas tree in it, maybe. But the thing is, to Stephen, these movies, to him, make him feel festive.
Right.
And to me, Die Hard is a Christmas film because it's set during Christmas. There's the Christmas party, there's Christmas music.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, you can comment please comment in below the comments. That's said completely the wrong way. But yeah, please comment on this video because I want to see what do you think makes a Christmas film?
Well, I've got one for you that I seen someone argue. I don't really like getting involved in arguments, but another one that could be a Christmas film, Batman Returns.
Yeah.
A lot of people, but I kind of agree. Again, it's sort of based at Christmas time. Do you know what I mean? But what defines a Christmas film?
Yeah, I mean, I would find it weird. I must admit, I'm a creature of comfort. I don't think I would watch Die Hard in the summertime.
Okay.
I think I would watch it when it's Christmas time because it's set in that era, and that to me makes it feel like a Christmas film. Die Hard 2. So Die Hard 1 is my choice, by the way. It's my number 2 choice. But I'm just going to quickly pop into Die Hard 2.
Is this the one on the plane?
The one on the plane.
I've only ever watched Die Hard 1, to be honest with you. I've never watched past Die Hard 1.
Well, Die Hard 2 is even more a Christmas film.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that doesn't really get brought up either, because, excuse me, when Die Hard 2, like Die Hard 2 is like set during the holiday season. I think in the first couple of minutes, like two police officers, they basically impound John McClane, Bruce Willis's car, and I'm positive when they give him the ticket, I'm positive they say Merry Christmas again straight away. That's a Christmas film to me because it's set in that time, and the snow and the music again. And I mean, with the third film, Die Hard with a Vengeance, it's set in summertime, so they shift the atmosphere. You know, they change it. But Die Hard 1 to me will always. I saw it early 90s.
Okay, because it came out in 89, didn't it?
Yeah, 88, 89. I think it was 88. I could be wrong. But I think Die Hard 2 was in 1990, 91. But Die Hard 1, to me, is a Christmas film. It's got that, you know, the party vibes. And it's just got, like I say, and it's got the music as well. And music plays a big part. If Christmas music is playing in the Lethal Weapon is another example of that. People call it a Christmas film. Well, some people don't, but some people do. But like I say, we'd love to hear your thoughts about it because it's interesting.
It's the argument in it.
Like I say,
older than time.
It's a pointless argument because it's all about how you feel.
Your preference, isn't it?
If you like the film, if you like the movie, if you want to watch it that way, then you watch it that way, as long as it makes you happy. So, and if someone else says, oh, it's not a Christmas film, that should not spoil it for you, because you should just watch it, enjoy it, and if this is the best time of the year to do it, then that's the way it is. I mean, to be fair, Steven's list, I look at it every year, and there's a few films in there I've never even seen, and but I need to, like I say, I like it when people throw me a movie that I've never seen before, and I like looking at film lists. Yeah. And like I say, when you spot something, you just take it out and go, right, I'm watching that. Because especially if it interests you, sort of thing.
Well, I watched Die Hard just before I came here, actually. Again, another film that I've not watched in 10 years, maybe more. Again, I don't really watch anything out of horror, which is quite sad. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I forgot how much I liked that. I forgot how good Alan Rickman is in it. I forgot how good the two brothers Carl, and he puts ho ho ho. Again, he puts a Christmas ho ho ho. Now I've got a machine gun. He puts that.
There's people who've got that. There's many. You can get that as a jumper now.
I imagine someone's got a tattooed on him as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that must look weird during the summertime.
But yeah, no, like I completely agree. I think that's a Christmas film.
Yeah.
Although, like I probably would watch that in the summer as well. It's sort of me. Yeah. It's kind of like off topic, but A Nightmare Before Christmas. There's the argument that it's a Halloween film. It's an argument it's a Christmas film. But I will watch that film all year round because it's my wife's favourite film.
It's a strange one because I remember watching Nightmare Before Christmas, and I think I saw it in the summertime in the cinema. I don't actually remember the release, but back in the day, they used to do matinee shows a lot in cinemas. They still do it now with kids' films. You know, they'll bring a film that came out a year ago and put it on in the kids' section on a Saturday morning for £1. And I watched Nightmare Before Christmas in Prestatyn Scala, and I remember when I watched it, it was just like I never, even though it's in the title, so it sounds a bit stupid, but when I watched it, to me, it's a Halloween film. And even though it's set during Christmas, it always feels like a Halloween film. Because I hear the word Tim Burton. I don't think Tim Burton Christmas. I think Tim Burton, I think, you know, like the Halloween, like darkness, and, you know, and I think Batman.
There's a lot of teenage girls that will fight you on the internet for saying that, Rob.
Okay. Well, you know, don't do that then. But there's a, when you watch, Beetlejuice, like, again, you know, and I think people think of Edward Scissorhands as a Christmas film.
Well, yeah.
Because the last scene is towards Christmas. Yeah. And obviously with him doing the sculptures with the scissors, it brings out the snow and things like that, you know, and...
I can see that.
I think basically some people might just think if there's snow in it, it's a Christmas film.
Yeah.
But no, Die Hard has always been a massive one for me. It was probably, along with Predator and Tango and Cash, like one of the top...
Tango and Cash.
Those three films were like big for me as a kid.
Yeah.
And Die Hard is to me a Christmas film. Controversial, maybe, but let us know below.
Yeah, tell us in the comments. I'm with you though. I think Christmas film. Right, we're getting on to our number ones now. This is where we're going with this. Okay. Okay. So did you watch this one?
I did.
Proud of you.
I'd never seen this film,
which is surprising.
Which is quite shameful because it's a classic.
It's considered a classic. It's the 1974 Bob Clark classic, Black Christmas. Yep. Which I've watched religiously every year from a wee sprout with my mum. I don't know why I said that. I've never said wee sprout in my life.
First time for everything.
With my mum when I was younger. I've watched it. It's always been a tradition. What did you think of it for being? I envy you for being your first time watching it. To be honest with you.
Truly, no. I cannot stop thinking about it.
Oh.
Really?
So really?
The moment it begins.
Yep.
So
the phone calls.
No, do you know what it is? It's the bells.
Okay.
See the bells?
Yeah.
Now, straight away, I had Black Sabbath vibes of it. Now, this is the band Black Sabbath. Like their first ever song, titled Black Sabbath, is just basically rain and bells. It sets the mood for what this band is about, which is basically what I thought the movie did. It straight away set the tone. Yeah. And I thought to myself, like, I knew a little bit about the movie. So when Margaret Kidder passed away, who plays Barb,
she's the one who's always drunk.
Yeah, she's got a cigarette.
Constantly
she's
drunk.
got a cigarette in her hand. She's just the epitome of cool, basically.
Yeah.
She's just, cool. And I know when she passed away, I think it was last year, people were commenting saying Barb is their spiritual, person, basically, and they wish they could be more like her, just, carefree and things like that. So I knew a bit about the movie, and I know there's a couple of scare scenes in the film. I've seen them in top 10 horror movies.
The eye through the side of the door. Yeah.
I knew that immediately, but again, I didn't really know much else about it. So I didn't know, for example, it was set during with Sorority House.
Yes,
I didn't know that. So I watched it, and from beginning to end, and it's funny because it was released the same year as The Exorcist.
It was, yeah,
in '74. But to me, this Black Christmas is the perfect example of what I love about horror films. Like I said to you, I'm not massive. I don't mind in films like Scream 1 and 2, 3. They can have comedy moments. I don't mind a bit of humour here and there, but I generally like my horror films dark.
Yes.
I like them brutal and as festive as that sounds. But I generally love the tone it keeps throughout the whole movie. It's just
disturbing.
Dread. It's dread.
Especially from that first the POV shot at the beginning where he goes in, and then the first phone call. Those phone calls still give me chills now. Like I watched it again the other day with my wife again. Who did not enjoy it. But even she said those phone calls like literally spine chilling. You lifted to him in.
I think they're sort of meant to sort of kind of annoy you in a way
because with the voice, because he keeps changing his voices, doesn't he?
And I think it's actually a very for 1974. It's very modern because of how people are these days. You get creeps and things like that, and you get this It just doesn't lose the atmosphere throughout the whole movie. And that's, I think, is one of the hardest things you can do in films when you're making one. I feel sorry for directors because keeping the tone of a film from beginning, middle, and end is a hard job. And Black Christmas, I think was 97 minutes long. It doesn't stop. It just carries it the entire way. And I was just sitting there, even though it was very gruesome and violent in scenes, especially Barb's death scene.
With the unicorn,
not to spoil it, but it was so beautiful.
It's 1974. I've not watched it now. It needs to be spoiled.
Yeah. But I had not seen it before. Again, like I say, I've not. Chad's here to basically to teach me what to watch horror-wise on the ones I've not seen. But this film, like I say, the way Barb's death was filmed, it was like watching. It sounds a bit stupid, but it's like watching it was so well done. It's like watching a scene from Citizen Kane.
Okay.
I mean, Citizen Kane, I don't particularly think it's a great film. It's very dated for someone like myself. I can see why people like it. It changed the scope of things. But the movie where Rosebud, it's where he's got
I thought that when the snow globe smashes on the floor.
Smashing, and the scene where a hand goes onto the side and things are sort of getting dragged across to the floor. And,
that's a great comparison because when he's lifting up the unicorn, you see the shimmer, don't you, when it comes down.
And that's what made me think of it.
That's a great comparison.
That's what gave me that sort of. I love that scene in Citizen Kane. Though I'm not a fan of the film completely, I do appreciate the shots in the film. And when I watched Black Christmas, I only watched it two nights ago. And
It's just been in your mind since.
And that's the sign of a perfect film. If a film sticks with you for any more than 24 hours, it's got you.
Yes, yeah.
It's exactly what you want it to be. And I'm glad I've watched it now though, because sometimes when you watch films at certain times, you don't always get it. You don't really. It might be the wrong time to watch it. I don't know. If I watched Black Christmas during another time of the season, I might not have liked it.
I don't think that's one of those films again, like with you with Die Hard for me. I think if you watch Black Christmas out of Christmas time, I feel like it's one of those films you put on for noise more than anything.
Yeah, I think everything about Black Christmas is everything I love about horror. If someone said to me, Rob, give me an example of what you think is a great horror film, I'd say Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Did you want to check your attic after you watched it?
Well, since I moved into my new house, I've not even been in it.
Oh, I'll check it then.
A lot of insulation in there, so that's my excuse.
Okay.
But yeah, that scene when I can't remember her name, but when the older lady goes...
The house mother.
The house mother, when she goes into the... so you know that it's Claire Harrison, is it?
Yes, yeah.
She's obviously rocking back and forth with a cat on her. But obviously she's not moving at the time. And she goes up and you just sort of see him in the background. And that, again, is great horror because like sometimes you're just waiting for the scare scene, aren't you?
Yep.
But this scene, you saw him before it even happened. So that made me more nervous. Usually I'd be like, my wife will tell you, she laughs at me when I watch horror films because I'm not good with scare jumps.
Okay.
I'm not good at them. I've got the cushion. I'm like, this is probably why it's taken me so long to watch horror films, more of them. But seeing that this was like, and this again, 1974, this horror scene should have been a jump scare, but instead you can see what's about to happen, but it's not happened. But you're still like, I was terrified.
Because with the house mother, you see him pulling back the hook,
the hook,
and she's looking for the cat.
So you're just waiting. You're waiting for her to sort of realise he's there, and then just to let go.
Then it's too late, isn't it? By the time she notices it.
No, but that was a great movie.
My favourite thing about the house mother was that she had the hidden booze around the house.
Yeah.
Like she had the Bible, she'd open it, she'd have a swig of a whiskey.
Okay.
The toilet, she'd lift up. And I thought that was like it's meant to be funny, and I think it was, but at the same time, it went well with the movie.
Yeah, I think it was, like I say, of its time.
Yeah.
And it just has, these creepy vibes throughout. And of course, John Saxon.
John Saxon, yeah.
The man himself.
Yes, very good. And Nancy's dad from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, again, I knew John Saxon was in it, but I just never, I never pushed myself to see it. And he passed away last year.
He did, yes, yeah. And, he was a great age. Not like anyone deserves that, but he was a great age.
He was 80 odd, wasn't he?
Yeah. So do you think you'll be watching Black Christmas every Christmas, though?
Well, I got another friend who thinks Black Christmas 2007. Is that a remake?
That's Black Xmas. They called it Black Xmas because it was edgy for the 2000s.
Is it the remake?
Yes, because they made another remake just last year, but that is terrible.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I don't mind. It's like because Black Christmas 1974 on the Bob Clark one. Sorry, just readjusting my antlers. Obviously, that's like you don't really see loads of gore, do you? But Black Xmas 2007
goes for it.
Well, there's a bit where he gets a cookie cutter and he cuts out chunks of I won't say who it is, but a person, and he cooks them and eats them, and you see him do it all.
Okay.
So it's like gore to it. Yeah.
It takes it to the next step.
It's a gore now, as the cool kids on Instagram call it.
I'll say Black Christmas. Bob Clark's is more a classical horror film.
Yes.
Like I mean, it doesn't. It literally, it's sort of like it has no airs and graces.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and but no, if you get a chance, if you've never seen it, watch it. But I mean, I imagine most horror fans have watched it, but if you haven't,
it's definitely one that I watch literally religiously every year.
I can see now why it's got such high acclaim.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't always say that Halloween was the first slasher, but obviously that came out 4 years prior. So did Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well, when you think about it. But I always like to give Black Christmas a little nod when here.
No, I'm glad I've finally seen it, and a perfect time to watch it.
I'm excited about your number one because I had no hope, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
But like I said, I looked at the synopsis and I was like, oh, he's basically making me watch like a knockoff Bandits film.
I don't think a lot of people had much hope for this film because the reason being is because the film that my number one is a film called in the UK it's called Deception. In America it's called Reindeer Games. And it stars Ben Affleck. Now, to a lot of people, that straight away rings alarm bells, especially during the early 2000s. I think it was it 1999 or 2000?
2000 on the nose.
On the nose, because Ben Affleck had a different career back then. He had a great career to start with. He starred in Dazed and Confused, Good Will Hunting, and then he went on to make, he went on to do the more blockbuster movies like Armageddon, and then he went on to do this little film with John Frankenheimer. Now, John Frankenheimer, I'm sure film fans will know, so he's mostly known for his crime films. So he did films like Ronin with Robert De Niro.
Well, I looked at his sort of stuff after I watched it. I was like, oh, this is I really enjoyed it. Like again, I didn't think I would, but I really enjoyed it. And I looked, I was like, oh no, he's got some good films behind him.
And he did he did The French Connection 2, so the sequel to the William Friedkin original, and then he went on. He was a big part of The Island of Dr. Moreau. Do you know?
Oh, is that one with they're like half human, half the one with Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
Okay.
Directed, well, mini small parts directed, if at all, of with Richard Stanley.
Okay, cool. Who just done Colour of Space?
Correct.
Yes.
And so they did with so John Frankenheimer. Like I say, he was known for his crime movies, and I think I've seen somewhere Ben Affleck did say he made Reindeer Games on the fact that he wanted to work with, because he's always said, because Ben Affleck, as we know now, is a great director. He's a director.
Yes, yeah.
And all the films he's made, I've always been impressed by them. The Town's very similar in a way to Reindeer Games, because it's about, the heist and things like that, bank robbers and things like that. And so what they did was, so I think, like I say, I think Affleck did say in an interview some time ago that he wanted to work with directors because he liked and he admired. I think that was what his goal was to go to in the end, to become a director. And Reindeer Games, I like to call it Reindeer Games. I don't really go by the Deception, as they call it in the UK. And I think it's a mad film. Again, it was not during the best part of Affleck's career. It was sort of like during the J-Lo sort of time. And he was just making like bad movies at the time. He was coming out with, I don't think it was it wasn't a couple of years later, but like he had Surviving Christmas and things like that, which, I like that film, but he was making movies that weren't making money. They were box office bombs. And Reindeer Games came out, and it was just, I think, I don't know, like I say, again, it just had, I think because people thought it was just silly. And it had a big cast. It had Charlize Theron, it had Gary Sinise.
What a cast.
And these people, the story is quite simple, but the twists and turns, because obviously since, I think it was 1994, Usual Suspects, 7, when the twists came into movies, because that was a thing. Because I don't remember early 90s, there was many films with twists in them.
No.
And then suddenly these films in the mid-90s came out with
Sixth Sense.
Yeah, exactly. That was probably one of the last great ones as well, until the internet took over and spoilers happened. But Reindeer Games was literally full of twists, and I think it took on that, everyone wanted to watch a film like that. Because the story is quite simple. So it's about a guy called Rudy and his cellmate. They're in prison, and his cellmate is called Nick. And they're about to be
released.
They're both about to be released, aren't they?
They've got 2-3 days before the release. That's
right. And they're talking about how much they're looking forward to it. And then basically during a prison riot, Nick is killed. But during their time together, Nick has been pen paling with a girl outside of prison who he's going to meet when he's released.
Who's
Charlize Theron. Yeah. And basically, so he gets killed in this prison riot, and then
he gets shanked.
Yes, that's the right word. And Ben Affleck comes out of prison, sees her, because I think he saw pictures of her or something.
He used to read her letters out to him, and those pictures on the wall in their cell.
Right. And so he decides, because he's Rudy, he's not Nick, he decides to take on the persona of Nick.
He does, yes.
And basically pretends to be him, because he just wants, I'm guessing he's sort of like fallen for her as well.
Yeah, well, at first he just sort of wants like someone to cuddle him through winter.
Yeah, because he's got no one waiting for him, has he?
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, basically, I'm not going to say anything in case you've never seen the film, but if you've never seen the movie, watch it, because from there, it is literally bonkers.
It's a roller coaster of
emotion.
Roller coaster,
yeah. I mean, Gary Sinise is like, I can say Gary Sinise is the villain.
Yes.
And he plays it well, sort of looking like Lieutenant Dan.
His henchman, though, he's got Quinn from Blade, can't remember the actor's name, Danny Trejo, who plays Machete, and then he's got William Clarence III, who's the main sort of protagonist in Tales from the Hood.
Yes,
when I seen him, I was like, he's the what's the guy called from that owns a funeral home? Funeral director from Tales from the Hood. And my wife was like, "What are you going on about?" I was like, "There's a film called Tales from the Hood. It's amazing."
It's always good when there's Easter eggs in movies. There's little trivia bits where you know these actors from other things. Because at the time, Danny Trejo was still trying to make, he'd done From Dusk Till Dawn, Desperado, but he had not done Machete and things like that, and the Grindhouse stuff. But this Reindeer Games. It's set during Christmas, and they're basically Gary Sinise gets hold of Ben Affleck,
who he thinks is Nick.
Who he thinks is Nick.
Yeah.
And basically they're planning on robbing a casino. But when they rob the casino, they're robbing the casino dressed as Santa Claus. So you've got basically a load of thieves dressed as Santa. And I think that's quite an original sort of thing, because you look at Santa Claus, you don't think bank robbers with guns. You think nice, man who's going to, sit on the knee and basically, you sort of, that sounds wrong. And then you get presents basically. But this, like I say,
You need to watch it. It's one of those films like again, I'm sorry about this one, but I had no hope. It's not my kind of film. No. It's early 2000s action. Like I thought, oh, it's just going to be one of those films that I'm going to turn on and I'm just going to play on my phone. I'm going to play on my phone, or I'm going to like play on my Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Didn't do any of that. I literally put my phone on mute and I watched every second of it. And thank you for making me watch it, because I think I'll watch it every year now. Like I loved every second of it.
I think when it came out, it was like disliked immensely, and I think as time's gone by, and I think people have gone to. I mean, I've liked Ben Affleck from the beginning. Though, it doesn't matter if you make a box office bomb. If the film's good, it's good, and if no one else sort of realizes that, that's their problem. That's up to them. But for me, I just loved everything about Reindeer Games. It was silly. It was fun. It was like the twists. Yeah. To be fair, though, I'm quite good with twists in films. I didn't see them coming.
I seen the first one with Charlize Theron and Gary.
They were together.
Yeah, I seen that coming. I was like, yeah, that's happening.
Because they're brother and sister in the story, aren't they?
Brother and sister. I hope not what happens in that film. And then the last one, when that happened, I gave you a message straight away. I was just like, because I 100% I could not have called it when it happened. I was like, oh no, I was like, that's a good twist. Like I didn't see that coming.
No, like I say, it's. I think people it's become. Like people have started to respect the movie more because, like I say, they know what it is. I think at the same time, I think when the film was being made, I think they it's got those comedy elements, and they sort of and Ben Affleck at the time, he was still finding his way in Hollywood, though he had done a lot already. He's still not made his Gone Baby Gone. He didn't make he hadn't made Gone Girl and things like that, and Argo, films that really did, take him, a lot higher in Hollywood. And but I've always loved him, and I had no judgment on before I watched it. I just wanted to watch this movie because it sounded great, and I at the same time thought to myself, it sounded like a B movie, but I watched it and I loved it. I loved every minute, and I can't wait to. I have not rewatched it because I do luckily remember a lot about it. But when like I say, when I go back to it again, probably hopefully this Christmas. I don't know. But again, I just love to rewatch it. Yeah. Whenever, only at Christmas though.
Well, again, like you said, it's a very Christmassy film because they're getting out. They're meant to be getting out at Christmas, and then, like you said, they rob the casino dressed as Santa Clauses, don't they?
And without giving much away, but I love the end scene when with the money. Yeah. I just loved it, and it kind of just gives you that.
It's the season of giving.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a good vibe of what Christmas is, about, sort of thing. But I don't know. The end scene, the very last scene, makes me smile every time. It makes you feel good. Makes you feel good.
Because I personally, with what happened, I thought it was just going to be sort of like a selfish kind of thing he was going to do, but it's the complete opposite of what he does.
I think in years to come, people will look back on Ben Affleck and they'll praise him a lot more than they have done in the past. I think, like I say, he's done some cracking films.
He has,
He's directed, he's not directed loads, but the ones he has done. I mean, I loved him as Batman. Yeah. I've really enjoyed Batman vs Superman. If you watch the extended cut, that's much better. But he's done a lot of good stuff. Like I say, he's worked with some greats, and I'm glad in a way he worked with, because John Frankenheimer died 2 years later.
Oh, really?
In 2002. So it's a good job he made that film, because and like I say, you see a lot of vibes, Reindeer Games vibes in the town. Okay. Have you seen the town?
I haven't.
No. Oh, watch it. It's really good.
That's directed by Affleck, you said.
Yeah. Okay. And with Jeremy Renner and John Hamm from Mad Men. And that film is much more, it's definitely, you see the vibes from Reindeer Games in the town. I do anyway, because in the town, it's about bank robbers and they wear nun outfits. Okay. So again, they're wearing an outfit that makes you stand out like, do you remember Point Break when they wore the American president masks? I love that. Because like I say, it just gives that, it makes you more, because you fear them in a way. And the opening scene in the town, they're wearing these like horror masks with dreads. And so you would love that. So you should definitely watch The Town.
I'll have to give it a watch.
I think it's on Netflix.
I'll have to give it a watch then, yeah.
Watch it, yeah.
Right, that's us done for the top three, but I'd like to do, top three each, sorry. I'd like to do some honourable mentions with you. So you could do, obviously we try to stay away from kids' films, but if there's any kids' films that you love, or maybe if it's more horror films or whatever.
Mine probably, my favourite that I remember most, probably because I think it was my first, was Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore and John Lithgow. Okay. And that was a very traditional Christmas film at the time. That was in the mid-80s, and I just loved that film. It was just a, it was, again, it's a kids' film, obviously, but John Lithgow plays one of the greatest pantomime villains I've ever seen. To this day, I wish there was posters you could buy of his character, because if my wife allowed me, I'd have him on the wall, because he's just, I mean, have you seen it?
I haven't.
No.
When you said that, I thought you meant the Santa Claus one.
Oh, with Tim Allen?
Yes.
No, I've not seen that.
Well, I only watched it for the first time last year. And
okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's become like a traditional thing for me and my family now.
Did you see the sequels?
I have, yeah.
Are they good?
The second one is, the third one's a bit weird. Martin Shaw, is it Martin Shaw?
Is he the bad guy in the
He's
third?
Jack Frost.
Right, okay.
And it's really, really weird.
I love Jack. Well, I love Martin Shaw in
Yeah.
like 80s films, like Three Amigos,
Yeah.
Three Fugitives, all about the threes. But no, I love. Like I said, I've never seen the Tim Allen one, but that's probably the 90s version of that.
That is the yeah.
Kind of. But no, Santa Claus was my first ever memory of a Christmas film that I remember. And there's quite a few, but go on, what's yours?
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, right, the horror film.
Yeah, obviously.
Not seen it.
Have you not seen it?
Not seen it.
It's one of those ones where it's not very good, but I like it.
The thing is, it's got a lot of.
It's got a heck of a following.
It's got a cult following.
Yeah, like there's probably a lot of people that'll be angry that I said that, but it's a very paint by numbers kind of script. Like the lad watches his mother and father get murdered by a man in a Santa Claus outfit when he's younger. Yeah. So does his younger brother. They get put into an orphanage. He grows up. He gets a bit aggy around Christmas time. Okay. Obviously because I think his mother was diddled by Santa as well during the murder. So he gets a bit. I used the word diddled. I thought it was better. And so he doesn't really go out, doesn't like Christmas time, tries to say, but they're the matron of the orphanage, because they're in like a Catholic one, she's horrible, she beats them and all that, and then he gets a job in a toy store in America, but obviously when it gets to Christmas time over there, they go a bit mad, don't they, with Christmas, and it gets to the point where they need a stall Santa, and for some reason they pick the boy who's got the PTSD of Santa Claus, and basically he sees a man trying to take advantage of a woman in the storeroom, and that's how it begins. He chokes him out with some lights, and then he just goes on a killing spree with an axe.
Well, I've not seen that one, so I'll try and do a double bill with that and Christmas Horror Story.
You should, yeah. Don't watch Silent Deadly Night 2 because it's Silent Deadly Night 1, just in flashbacks. It's really weird. Apart from the great scene where he goes garbage day and he shoots a guy while he's holding a garbage can.
They just released, I think, 101 Films just released a box set of the first two on Blu-ray.
Personally, I think last time I watched it, and I'm one of those guys that do this, I think I counted, I think the first 45 minutes is literally the first film.
And the second one's this?
In the second one, so like you're basically watching the first, I mean if you fast forward past that bit, then you've got Billy's I think his name's Billy in the first one, Billy's younger brother Richie killing people as Santa Claus because his head's also gone with Santa.
I'll remember that then if I watch the second one. But I'll get to the first one first. And but I've heard about it for years. In America, Screen Factory released their Blu-ray edition of it, a collector's edition.
Is that when we got the figure?
Got the figure with it.
So cool.
Because as horror fans will know, they always do. On occasions, they will release a doll for a certain film. Yeah. Night of the Creeps had Tom Atkins.
Yes, yeah.
And I think they've definitely done another one. Oh, well, I think there was a Chucky one when Child's Play came out, I think. But no, I like that kind of concept that they do that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many photos over Christmas on Instagram and Facebook of people saying they're watching Silent Night, Deadly Night, and they put the figure up. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. It's cool to see.
I've always enjoyed it again, but to me it's one of those films sort of like, again, a Christmas Horror Story. No, Santa's Sleigh, sorry. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure I know it's bad technically, the way it is kind of thing, but I really enjoy it. Like I enjoy the characters.
Well, like I say, I mean, I know I've not seen all three of the ones you've chosen, but 2 for 2 so far.
You've done well. You've done proud.
And so I'm confident I'm going to enjoy those ones.
Well, I'm just happy that you watched Black Christmas because obviously I know you're a man that loves film. I knew you were going to like that film. Yeah. I knew that there was no way you weren't going to like it.
It's more than just horror. Like I say, it's got generally good performances. It's got great direction. Yeah. It's the entire thing. It's what you want from a film completely, and that's what I got out of it. So.
Any more honourable mentions?
There probably will be, but right now I'm a bit stuck.
Okay, in that case, we're at the end of the Christmas special.
Yeah, we've got a couple of mentions. So we want to say thank you to Barry. He is known as Wolfman's Got Nards on
Great channel.
On YouTube, and please go look for him. We'll put a link at the bottom of our video here, and go and follow him because he does fantastic videos on He does reviews.
Training reactions. He's just done the new Wrong Turn, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a massive Halloween fan, Barry, and he talks a lot about Halloween. Like he's gone through all the movies, done reviews, and lots of things really. Like I've learned more about Halloween of anyone. He's the person since I've met online that's taught me the most about Halloween. You know, like the Thorn trilogy and things like that. And I never knew what that even was. He's got like a Blu-ray box, DVD Blu-ray sort of like custom-made box that someone made for him.
Oh, cool!
That he put in one of his videos. He does a lot of you know, like Blu-ray videos where he shows you the editions and things like that. So definitely give him a follow because he's worth watching.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And thank you to everyone else that's commenting. Really, we've got loads of people have sent you stuff on Twitter as well, haven't they?
Yeah, we've got a Twitter now. We'll put a link on this video. This is our third video. We're still trying. And we hope you can subscribe if you enjoy this video. Please subscribe. And there's more. We've got a lot more coming in the in 2021. Hopefully that'll be a better year for us.
We're hoping to get more guests.
We're hoping to get guests. We've got a few people already in the pipeline. We're not going to say who, but hopefully we'll get a couple of people in, and we'll be discussing nothing but films with them. We've
also got to mention the film on your phone competition for the little theatre where we are. And basically, you just do a film on your phone and you send it in, and hopefully there'll be some prizes, not too sure. Just send it over to us, or we'll put Wicked Wales in the comment section for you, and you can just email it over. And this may be, like I say, it's only our third episode, but we want to say thank you to our, what we're doing here, it was a dream for people like Chad and I. But it's nothing without the people that are behind the scenes. So we literally just do this. We don't do any. We don't do the tech side of things. We literally just talk. We come here, drink coffee, drink water, talk crap, and leave. That's the easiest part. So I want to thank Rhiannon, James, Andrew, Kira, Sam, anyone else that's involved that's not thanked. And we hope you have a magical Christmas. Yes, and thank you so much for all you do for us. They're behind here. They're behind the scenes. We love you all. And but like I say, without them, this would not be possible. So we hope, like I say, 2021 will be better for everyone, families, all sorts. Our next podcast will be on the 2nd of January, hopefully, if everything goes well. We'll hopefully see you then, guys. Have a good Christmas and a good New Year.